we're gonna get straight into the people's main event right here. Adrian Yanez, he closed as a minus 250 favorite, and he got the job done against Randy Costa. Man, we were sitting here, we were going back and forth on it. I was giving you a million reasons for why Costa could win until I picked Yanez at the end of the day, and it goes to show that in that first round, Costa looked like a world beater. Like Adrian Yanez looked like average Joe, you know what I'm saying, in that first round until he woke up a little bit and says, okay, man. He even said it in the post-fight presser. It was so hilarious. He was all like, listen, man, I do the knocking out. I don't get knocked out. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I love that. I love that. But this was a very, very hard-fought battle. This was a war. And Randy Costa, man, loss aside, the man has a very bright future. Give me your take overall on this fight, AJ.
Man, Costa was looking great. He was looking, like you said, like a world beater, throwing long combination. Those head kicks were landed. I think what happened is he caught Yanez off a little bit. And like you said, he was like, I'm the one that does the knocking out. So at first, when he was getting touched up a little bit, he was kind of like just shook for a second, able to regain himself and go back in the win, get the win in the second round. And this fight right here set the pace of the night for me. Like it set the tone, I guess is a better word for it, because Costa was looking amazing. Then he got tired. Yanez is able to put on, man. It was a very impressive win for Yanez. And the first round was a very technical chess match in which Costa was getting the dub. He was getting the win on that technical chess match. But then the second round, it became a dog fight. And that's where Yanez really showed up and showed that he's the one that, like he said, does the knocking out. My question to you, Derek, is which would you rather win, the technical fight or the dog fight? That's to me, it's a little hard because I'd rather win the dog fight because it feels like that's where most of them go. But, man, if you don't win those technical battles, you're going to get pieced up in the beginning, and it's a hard road up after that. What do you think?
Well, you know what, man? I will say that, like, the machismo in me, where I grew up at, I would love to win the dog fight, like the Darren Elkins style dog fight, where it's like, listen, I'm so tough, man. You got to kill me to get me out of there. However, what's something that I commonly say to you, AJ, one of the most disrespectful things you can call someone is tough, because that just means that you get hit a lot, man, and that's not what I want, man. I came up on the sweet science of boxing where you hit and you don't get hit back. But nonetheless, man, I honestly think that winning a very technical matchup would probably be a little bit better because, in my opinion personally, because it goes to show that, hey, man, like when it comes down to the actual skill set, when it comes down to the X's and O's, man, I'm more proficient than you at this, man. I spend more time in my craft. I could piece you up. I got better angles. I got better head movement. My jab is snapping harder than yours. I prefer that better just because I feel like it's more of a demoralizing type of victory to have than just a, dang, this dude is tough, man. Why can't I get him out of there? I hit him with everything in the kitchen sink. But we'll talk about that in a second, man. I do want to ask you this, AJ. Was it not a little counterintuitive? Didn't you think it would be kind of backwards the way that this fight went out? Because I personally said, I was like, okay, if it's going to be technical, Yanez gets it done. If it's going to be a dogfight, that's Costa all day. But it was flip-flop, and that's like crazy to see to me personally because first off, Randy Costa, Adrian Yanez said it in the post-fight. He was all like, I did not expect this man to come out like technical boxing, throwing 1-2s and all that stuff. But that goes to show that Adrian Yanez is so skilled, he brought the best out of Randy Costa. So it's really interesting. What did you think about that? Was I kind of right in that assessment?
Oh yeah, 100%. I 100% thought Giannis was going to be the more technical guy and not really have to dig on his dog, you know.
Yeah.
But what impressed me most was Costa's jab. It was so fast and so snappy that jab, he was long jab, just literally keeping banking off of Giannis's head, and he literally didn't have, at least in the first round, Giannis didn't have the head movement to avoid the jab. He was literally just getting caught. So that's what was impressed me most is we haven't seen that snappy of a jab from Costa yet until that first round of that. And the head kicks are amazing. So the head kicks of Costa are always amazing. So I was very put back, or at least like kind of shocked the fact that Yanez was the one that had to fall back on his dog, whereas Costa stayed technical. It was impressive. It was a very impressive first round for Costa.
Absolutely. And one thing that I want to do, we don't normally do this on this platform, but I want to ask you just because I think these two cats, you have to talk about them in this way, man. I want you to give me a very quick prediction off the top of your head, man. Where do you see these two fighters at their peak? They're very young in their careers, man. At their peak in the UFC, what do you think these two fighters are capable of? Start with Costa and then go Yanez.
Oh man. See, so I'm a little more high on Yanez, to be honest with you. I think Costa looks good, but I think he's going to have to honestly go up a weight. He's big for the weight class. What are they, 135, 125?
135.
The bantamweight, the 135. So I think Costa, he's very tall, very good for the division, but I don't necessarily see him as the world champ. Now with Yanez, I do see it. He's very, very confident in his skills. I think this dude can very easily go to the top of the division. Whereas Costa, we're going to see him around for a long time. You know, we're going to see him around. Hopefully he won't be that gatekeeper position, but I can easily see him maintaining a spot in the top 5 the whole time. Whereas Yanez, man, this dude has some very serious potential to be world champ coming up. And I mean, it's going to be a long road for him because he is very young. Both these fighters are very, very young. So we can see, you know, this can completely be wrong. But Yanez, man, has the mindset and the skill set to go very, very far in the division. And I think he's going to, you know, I'm calling it now. He's going to be champ here within the next, you know, 3 to 5 years. What do you think, Derek? Where do you see these fighters going?
So I would agree with you for the most part, but I got a little bit of a different take on Adrian Yanez. So I'll start with Randy Costa, man. I think that I agree. I do think that he would benefit by moving up a weight class because he has a lot of speed. He has a lot of pop in his shot, and I really do think that will translate over to 145 pounds. However, he needs to round out the game a little bit, man. You can't just be knocking everybody out. I want to see some wrestling. I want to see some sprawls. I want to see some jiu-jitsu because if you want to be at the level which I think that he can be at, he's going to need it. So I think Randy Costa could absolutely be a perennial top 10er. You know what I mean? Perennial. And if you're in the top 10 of the world in your division, you are arguably an expert at your sport. You know what I'm saying? Like you are one of the best in the entire world. You don't always have to be the absolute best. And sometimes you can not be the best in the world and still get that title championship, similar to a Michael Bisping. You know what I'm saying? Now for Adrian Yanez, I don't know if I see championship aspirations yet or him being truly a champion. And the reason why is because if he got pieced up the way he did against Randy Costa, imagine who he can get pieced up by who are real top fivers. But I do think Adrian Yanez can truly be a perennial top fiver. I just want to see him matched up against a wrestler, against a real grappler. Someone who's like Gustavo Lopez. I thought he was going to wrestle him. He decided he just wanted to box. It's like, okay, understood. But I want to see somebody who's really going that. Let me see your sprawls. Let me see stuff like that in the UFC, and then I can make my decision on whether Yanez will be a champion or not. Nonetheless, man, our say has nothing to do about it. You know, these men are going to prove it at the end of the day on whether they are going to do what we think they're going to do. I will say Yanez has the mindset. He has championship mindset. The way he's critiquing himself and the way he's taking accountability, the way that he's saying, I got to get better, man. If I want to be where I want to be, I have to get better. All the makings for a champion. You just got to be able to, you can't have those slow starts. He said it himself. He said all of that stuff himself in his post-fight, you know what I'm saying? But that's my take on those ones, man. We spent a lot of time on this one, so let's move on. But this was a huge, huge win for Adrian Yanez, and I do have to say he's won his last 4 fights via TKO, and he is now riding a 7-fight win streak. Super impressive, man.